Welcome to Tubi Talk. I'm your host, and I am so excited to dive into some amazing stories with you today.
Yo, welcome back to Tubi Talk. And today, it's a good one. I'm going to be talking about this here. A Good Man 3. First of all, if you ain't never seen this movie, don't watch this video because I'm going to be giving out some spoilers. And if you ain't never watched this movie, go watch the first two. It'll explain why Ethan Carter is the way he is. So anyway, the movie, it starts out with him and some chick in bed or whatever because they just had a session. And he asking her questions about why she's doing what she's doing. And then he asked her, of course, questions about her husband because she tells him that she's married. And then, he was like, well, how does he treat you? And then she was like, oh, he treats me well and all that. And he was like, so why are you doing this? And then she was like, why are we talking about him when we could be getting another around in or whatever? And she lets him know that it's an app. It's called Discreetly. I looked it up. Not a real app. But she lets him know about the app. And then he was like, so it's really an app for this? And then so he said something. He was like, well, I guess I'm getting tired of you cheating ass bitches or whatever being out here doing good men wrong. So she gets up, she gets mad, and she was about to leave until he got up super quick behind her, and he was like, well, on behalf of your husband and good men out there, night bitch. he really said that. So he ended up snapping her neck, and then he looked on the phone so he could look up the app, and he was like, it's really an app for cheaters. He said it's really an app for this. So the next scene, he goes to a therapist because he's been going to one. And so that's why I said you got to look at the last two movies. I think he's been going to one ever since the first, if I can remember. I think he's been going to one since the first. But he's telling the therapist, look, I don't want to start over with a new therapist, so I'll come back when she's available or whatever. And then the therapist is telling him, like, look, you're gonna have to be waiting for weeks because she is swamped. And so she was like, if you want to wait, that's on you, but I'm just here to help. And he was like, okay, you're right, you're doing your job. Okay. So he sits down, starts telling her, because she already got all the notes that his last therapist had. So she kind of already got a feel of what's going on, because the last therapist wrote down everything that they was talking about. So, and she asked him, what was your relationship like with your mom? He said it was good until she had to leave, and then it cuts to a scene like a flashback, and it shows his mama leaving because he told the therapist, he was like, well, my mama was cheated on by my dad, so she just ended up leaving us. And he thinks, even though it's not, I guess in a way it's not true, like she didn't just abandon them in a way, because she had two boys. And he was like, I felt like I was abandoned. And then the therapist was trying to tell him, like, that's not true, right? You said she was cheated on by your dad, so she was leaving him, even though y'all were there. So she left y'all with your father or whatever, but she didn't abandon you. Like, it seemed like she was just trying to teach your dad a lesson. But he was like, look, I get what you're saying, but that ain't the way I see it. So throughout the movie, I don't want to give away too much, but throughout the movie, he goes on the app just to check and see if women really are going to show up to his house. And then, because he left the business that him and his partner started. He was like, look, I just got to get away And then of course the police is looking at them because they start putting pieces together. Like everybody who died in the last two, it all comes back. It all leads back to Ethan Carter. So the chief put this a good police officer on the case. So he's going around asking everybody questions who may know, which is only two people, his partner and his brother. And so when he goes on, he's like, oh, he got a house like way out in the country somewhere. And only two people know about it. And it's his partner and his brother. So he invites chicks over just so he can kill them. Because he said, look, somebody gotta pay. Somebody has to make them pay. So another chick come over and she called him her husband a loser only because her husband lost his job, and so she said something about how he's feeling sorry for himself, and then Ethan was like, you know that wasn't his fault, right? And then she thinks that, oh, just because I'm paying the bills now, I get to do whatever I want to do or whatever. And then he gets up and then he starts yelling at her, and she was like, oh, I'm about to go. He was like, ooh, back home to who? Oh, now you want to go home to the husband you don't love, to the husband that you hate? That's very funny. So he ended up choking her out, so she's dead now. And so it cuts to this. The only good person in the movie is the woman, but she's married to like a jackass. Like he's a cheater too. So they ended up meeting, and it seems like she's the only person who has morals and standards, which he's not used to. Because like I said, watch the last two movies. You'll know what I'm talking about. The last two movies, he had people that's been just full of crap, just betrayal, cheating, all that crap. Just watch the last two. So before, because I'm jumping ahead, before he even got to the country, like his country home or whatever, he paid his ex-wife and his used to be best friend a visit, and then they started talking, yelling or whatever, and then his used to be best friend stepped up. He was like, look, just go ahead and hit me, man, because it looks like that'll do you some good, and it'll do me some good too, because I feel terrible about it. And then Ethan was like, do you really? Because from where it looks to me, it looks like y'all living happily ever after. And then so he was like, he told his used to be best friend, like, are you sure you want me to, are you sure? He was like, yeah, man, just go ahead and do it. And then so he knocked him out, and then he took I think it was a big black heavy looking ashtray, and he started just wailing on him, just beating him. He died. And then the used to be ex-wife thought she was finna get away, and then he held it up to her like, ah. So she did. So the police is telling people, well, not people, the two people that know Ethan the best. So he's going around telling them, because he went back to the office because his partner, he wanted his partner to take over the business. So now he's like the head over the company now. So the police go back to him. He was like, I haven't heard from you. He was like, that's because I ain't got nothing new to report. Because the first visit that he had, he called Ethan right after the police officer left. Detective Owens or whatever. So he called Ethan right after he left the first time. So the second time when he came back, he was like, man, I ain't got nothing new to report because what you saying is some bullshit, because I know that's not Ethan. And then he was like, oh, really? Did you know that we found his used to be best friend and his ex-wife murdered? We found them dead. Everybody around him seems to be dying all of a sudden. Like recently, because they are. And then his partner was like, what? And then he said, the police officer was like, I think you may have something to do with it. And the partner was like, because he ain't never killed nobody before, so he was like, what? No, no. So when he left, he was like, I will look forward again to you contacting me about some information. So when he left the second time, his partner did some research, and even though it seems like he didn't find much, but he did find the article about the last movie, A Good Man Part 2, about how it was bodies found in this rental property that he was supposed to be starting. Uh, Nobody knows who the bodies was because they said it was burnt beyond recognition or whatever. But like I said, if you see the last two movies, you'll know exactly who was in that basement. I ain't finna say nothing about it, and y'all need to go look at the last two. And of course, the first movie, his ex fiance is missing. Go watch the first one. You'll understand what I'm saying. But he was like, oh, because he also told the detective. He was like, yeah, he told me about, I think her name was Ariana or something like that, Ari, that she ran off with her ex boyfriend, and he was like, no, yeah, it seems like it is so funny that the two people who know him the best seem to know nothing. He was like, Ari didn't run off. Her and her ex-boyfriend is missing, along with her ex-boyfriend's wife. Cause like in the first one, he didn't tell her that he was already married because he was cheating on his wife too. So go watch the first, cause that's too much to be bringing up. So the let's let me continue because I was about to talk about the first. The It goes on, and then the girl who's married to the jackass, like she got this friend. Her name is London. I think her name was if I can remember, I think it's Mia or Real. It's some I forgot what her name was, but let's just call her Mia. She got a friend named London who she says she's a free spirit, and we already know what that means. And the second time she visited Mia or whatever, so I started getting this feeling. I'm like, cause the way she was talking, cause she's the one who introduced Mia to Discreetly. That's the only reason why and how she got on the app. She didn't know nothing about it. And then, cause further into the movie, it shows that her husband is on the app too, and that's why he's sneaking around cheating, because she already knew about it with her. But and her friend London, just she didn't rub off on me well. I'm like, I kind of got a feeling that she's sleeping with your husband and you just don't know about it. And then cut to that scene, I was right. I was like, I knew it. I knew it. So she goes on the app, and then that's how she met Ethan, even though he goes by another name. His name is Malcolm, even though his name is Ethan Carter, but whatever. She goes to meet Ethan, and then he got a like a butcher knife under the pillow because he was about to kill her until she stopped the whole thing, and she was like, look, this ain't me. I'm not a cheater. I'm married to a piece of shit, and I thought if I was a piece of shit, it would make me feel better. But it didn't. She was like, no, it's just not me. And then he was like, it ain't me either. And then she was like, man, listening to freaking London. And he was like, who's London? And she said, it doesn't matter. And then he finds out that London is her friend or whatever. So cut to the scene of when I was right. He goes to her house because they've been dating, and then her husband threw her out the house because he seen her profile on Discreetly or whatever. So he just put her out, and then hours later he's looking for her, like, where my wife at? I'm like, you really looking for her even though you put her out? What you looking for her for? And not only that, you cheating with other females. Why are you looking for your wife, honey? who you put out, and then he hit her. So I'm like, why are you looking for if you hit her, put her out, and you're cheating? Look for them other females. But um, so it's okay. She goes back to Ethan's house, and he was like, he did this to you, and so she was like, look, I just wanna. She didn't have nowhere else to go, and then she was like, look, I just wanna take a nap, go to sleep, get some rest or whatever, and I'll figure all this out tomorrow. And then and right after that, they started dating, and then her phone rings. It's her husband calling, and him and Ethan was going back and talking, and then he already knows his address. So he was like, because the husband was talking so much trash, so he was like, man, pull up. He was like, thank you, I consider that an invitation. So he tells Mia that, oh, I got a little surprise for you. She goes downstairs because he got her eyes covered or whatever. So she goes downstairs and sees her husband and her best friend sitting in chairs tied up, like passed out. And she was like, what is going on? And he was like, well, obviously I did this for you. You obviously that's your husband, and I don't know who she was. She was just ended up being there. I wasn't really planning on that. And this is just the female that he was about to smash. And then she was like, what about to smash? That's my best friend. So she goes over and try to punch her, slap her, but he he got her up off of her, and then whatever. So and she ended up passing out because he think that she was like, look, let them go, because obviously she don't even want to see them or whatever. I kind of got that feeling. But so she was like, look, let them go. With this is crazy, and I'm about to call the police and all that. So whatever spray he had to make them pass out, I'm like, this must be some chloroform spray or some type of spray or whatever it is. But he ended up tying her to the chair because it seemed like he said, oh, she broke my heart, even though she has a good heart and all that, and she's a queen and all that. But and then his partner ended up coming, and he was like, man, dude, what's going on? Because the police is looking for you. I didn't tell them nothing because I ain't got nothing to tell them, but what is going on? I'm for real. I'm serious. Like, you need to tell me what's going on. So he let him in the house. He saw that it was like 3 people tied up to a chair. He ended up knocking him out with a baseball bat and then tying him to a chair. Even though he ain't got no gag over his mouth. He gagged everybody else except for him. So he's telling him who these people is. And he didn't even know he was in a new relationship because, of course, I guess he kind of knew the police were going to be looking for him or whatever. So he ended up killing London with a baseball bat. And then she was like, oh, no, please don't kill my husband. And I'm like, girl, is you stupid? This dude did all of this, and you talking about don't kill him. He got to go. That's what I would have been like. But he told his partner, he was like, the only way you getting out of here alive is if you kill her husband. And he was like, man, look, dude, Ethan, you're tripping, man, you're tripping. And then, of course, his brother is looking for him because the police paid him a visit too. And his brother happens to own a crematorium. And the detective was like, that's a good way to get rid of some bodies. And you got a good family up in here. I would hate to see this gone. So, of course, his brother is looking for him. And then he ended up killing his partner because he tried to kill him with whatever tool. I think it was a scalpel that he gave him. And then so he did. And then Ethan ends up shooting her husband, and he was like, look, I'm not going to hurt you. Even though he put a gun to her head, too. And she was like, no, wait. And then it'll just be us. I appreciate everything you was doing and all that. So he was like, just us, with the gun in his hand. He was like, just us. And then he unties her, and then they ended up kissing. And she knees him in the nuts. And then she just runs out the house. And then he got this a butcher knife or whatever, which he was gonna kill her with the first time, but because he also said she was the only person that he's met, like I said, with morals and standards, and it's very refreshing. But cut to them running in the woods, and then because he was, for whatever reason, they start running, and I don't know what she tripped on, because I'm like, this is some white people shit here. What did you trip on to make you fall on the ground? I didn't even see nothing on the... Anyway, he was like, "Did you hear?" Because he was finna tell her about this lady way back, probably like in the 18th or 17th century or something, junk. Maybe in the 14th. I don't know, but he was telling her, "Did you hear about this lady? I think it was the Queen of Scots or something like that. She ended up being beheaded." And I'm like, just like Marie Antoinette, but he said on behalf of Ethan Carter. And he was like, "That's how you are gonna die. You're gonna be beheaded." He raised the knife up, but before he could like stab her with it, his brother shot him in the back. And I'm like, "Thank you," because I thought he was just gonna continue getting away with it, just like the first two. And then he turned around. His brother shot him again in the chest. He shot him in the back, and then he just falls to the ground, dead. Like he was alive for like a just this. And then she grabbed the butcher knife after he was already dead and just started stabbing him because she done went through so much crap with this dude. And then his brother pulled her off of him, and then cut to the police showing up late as hell like they always are. And then they asking the brother, the detective, what's going. He was like, "I don't know what happened here because I wasn't here. All I know is my brother is dead." He was like, "Sorry for your condolences." He was trying to talk to Mia, but of course she's distraught, so she can't say nothing. But anyway, y'all need to watch this movie. It is so, I done seen it like 3 times, and it just came on Tubi. And I was so happy that they got a part 3 to this. Go watch this. Look, like, share, subscribe, all that. This movie is good.
Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Bye.